Visual Studio, it's very easy to add SOAP-based web services in a project. So what I've done is I've created a console project, a normal .NET console project in C#. And what you do to create a reference to a web service is look at the references folder. You right-click on that, and you hit Add Service Reference. Click on Advanced, and then click on Add Web Reference. Bring that down. Once you've got that, then you're going to put in the endpoint for your web reference for your web service. So in this case, we're going to do project maintenance, and this allows us to connect to project maintenance. Once you've got that in, you just hit the little right arrow, and now you can see there's the reference information there. And I'm going to rename this to CT API just to go ahead and distinguish this from other references that we have, and dot project maintenance. So the object that we'll be able to use, or the class that we'll be able to use, is going to be ctapi.projectMaintenance. And I'm just going to add that as a reference. And it'll take it a while because what it's doing is it's going out to that that URL and grabbing the WSDL for that, and then creating a proxy. So now it looks like just a normal class for you, and you can just use that to be able to go ahead and interact with our API without having to deal with understanding anything that's going on behind the scenes on the network. The next thing that you need to do is then use the license key information to set up your SOAP headers so that you can then interact with the web services appropriately. So I'm going to drag something over here, and usually when you get your API installed, you're going to be given a file or a bit of text that's going to give you information about your license key. Now all of these are just blotted out for purposes that you're going to have your own license key information here. So I've just got this written out. Now note one thing about the license expiration. Most customers have an open expiration, which means that the license key will last forever, and that will be blank. So you'll want to go ahead and put that blank. So what we then do is I'm going to go ahead and put this over to the side, and I'm going to create a actual object that's going to point to this reference. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating an object here that will then get referenced. So when you see this, you can see, okay, well, I'm going to create a project maintenance object. I'm going to call it project maintenance service. And on the get, what I'm going to do is check to see, okay, well, if this local variable is null, I'm going to create a brand new object, and then I'm going to set the SOAP header. So you can see here, there's SOAP header settings that will then correspond to what we have here in the license key information. Now, normally I wouldn't hard code this information. I would put this in the in a config file, and that's why this is in this kind of format, so it's easy for you to go and paste into your .NET project. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and hard code this information so that we can easily test this. So let's move a little bit further. I'm going to just accordion that down, and I'm going to go ahead and write a little bit more code. So okay, and then we'll just do this. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, and once this thing kicks off, I'm going to just run the runit command, or the runit function, and in here I'm going to do a call to my project maintenance service. So I'm going to do all I'm going to do is bring back I'm going to bring back a project object for this project ID. This is one that exists in my system. So that's all you have to do to be able to make a call to a SOAP web service, is to go and, one, create a reference to it, and then two, I've created an object to that reference, and make sure that you set the CT Dynamics SL header and set the site ID, company ID, license key, license name, license expiration, site key, and software name. So that's all you need to do to be able to do this. So now let's get ready to run it. Okay, so I want to look at this, and I'm going to put in a breakpoint right here so that I can watch it. And I'm just going to go and hit start to run this. It's going to compile it and make sure everything is good, and then it will run it. So this is a console app, so you can see that it's showing on a console, but back here in the code, if we look at this, we're just going to step through that, and it will go and make a call out to the API and bring that back. So now if I go and look at, it brought back the object, and you can see all the data that's in there. So it's just as simple as that. All you have to do is create that reference, make sure that you've got the SOAP header appropriately set, and then it will bring back what you need to do. Likewise, if you're, whatever function or method that you're going to be calling from this object, whether it's the project maintenance service or one of our other web service calls, you would just call the appropriate method, pass it what's supposed to go there, and then it's going to return information back. If you have a question about this or any of our other systems and applications, you can see our site at www.catalinatechnology.com or contact us at sales@catalinatechnology.com.